All right, people. So I'm really excited. I'm more awake. I'm down still. I think I'm down $900 now. Keeps fluctuating, but kind of happy with how the market's looking. So, see, we do lose sometimes. Well, actually, a lot of the times. But risk reward. You know what I'm saying? But what I do want to talk about, I got a good question. I was just going through DMs, making some phone calls, doing some trades here, and Grant, he's a potential Colt applicant. He asked a good question on what could make the stock market go up, since we've been talking a lot of negative, or what could draw the market down lately. I thought that was a good question. I want to talk about that and those effects. I'd love you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm having a lot of fun posting these videos and just spamming them. It's kind of fun. It's keeping me away from my Instagram, but it's this is fun. I like it, so I like you guys. But let's talk about it. I thought that was a great question. What could bring the markets up? It seems like there's bearish stuff, there's oil, and honestly, before I even get into that, I'm gonna have to share more bearish. Why does it look so zoomed in? Doesn't it look so close? I'm gonna have to share some what's it called with you guys, more bearish news. Oil just dropped again. It kind of hit that 50 handle, and $50 is a crucial level, so that's what could bring the market down again. And you know, the SPY's at an interesting place. It looks interesting. I actually want to get more plays out on here, so I think it'll be interesting to see where it is by the time I get this video up. However, what could bring it up? And you know, we see the negative news, and there's two things. Good news could bring it up, and that could be a resolution to any of the downside stuff. So that could be China trade wars, stuff gets better with Saudi Arabia, positive oil news, you know, any of this bad stuff going on, anything could be even really, and that's on the scope of just reversing bad news. That could bring the market up, but now it could even be positive news from left field. So something outside of Fed rate, the rate hikes that are chilling, the Fed chilling out would be a big one, but outside of that, there could be positive news. It could be something related to Trump and his investigation, or outside company, and depending on how good that news is, or some development, it could bring the market up. But that is the interesting part, because today I'm even thinking we're heading more towards following the dollar and oil, because even after the trade talk stuff, the market gave back that gains based on what Trump said, but it didn't give back too much. It's kind of slow right now, and I think that's it really didn't react till crude started to move, and then we got that move. So I think it's going to be dependent on, I think, if positive news comes out in oil, or something globally with trade, and even related to Europe, Brexit, all that. So there's that aspect of it. The other side of the coin is what can make the markets go up is how the market digests information. I think a lot of people, they don't get this sometimes, or it gets confusing where, and this has to even relate to like understanding implied volatility on options, is that if the market hasn't seen something before, it reacts very negatively. So the first time they talked about rates, the first time they talked about China, the China slowdown, anything, it has that first effect. And that's what's happening with a lot of the news now. I think we're kind of at the late, it's beyond the first effect, but essentially, once a market is beaten with bad news enough, and then we've seen this happen, stocks even like Tesla could show it, Fitbit even, and I'm trying to think even where in the broader markets you've seen where, really I think 2014, 15, that was about with rate hikes, even like 2013, because 2012, 13, the Fed was really jerking shit around, and the ECB, people were worried about that, but now, as it came toward, you know, people stopped caring about the Fed for a good period of time. And, you know, the news got so bad. Same thing with China. The first time China dropped, the market didn't react in August. And that's what I'm going to post that video on today. And then it dropped. And it was really bad. And then now people were worried about China. But a year later, 2 years later, the China slowdowns, we're seeing them again. And that's why I think the reaction's kind of muted, because we've seen it, but it doesn't change that China's a lot worse than back then. So that's kind of the effect. So what I'm trying to say is what could make the market go up is we digest this bad news, where the bad news hits, the prices kind of start to level out. They come out here, the market's like, okay, what's next? What's next? They're waiting for something. and nothing gets worse than what it is, the markets could now pick up. People will start to get back to price discovery and even now overvaluing every single tech stock in the world. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully that gives you guys an insight on what to look for, and that's what I look for. If maybe more specifically, look for the reversals of the events, look for outside business news that could be good, or really you could look like how I look at the breadth, or just seeing prices and find laggers and companies outperforming and companies not giving back during the decline. If you could get an idea of what those companies are, what sector those are, and you're not seeing them give back, then you could get an idea of kind of where things are going with the market, what's strong, what's not, and you could find an idea of, okay, well, this is leading the sector, this is bouncing, so on and so forth. But I'll leave it there. I love you guys. Good luck. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Goodbye.